Hi guys, Joseph here. Today we're doing another video, and today we're doing another video on my 2002 Volvo V70, and today I'll be showing you how to replace the front wheel hub assembly. So on this video we're going to be replacing the wheel hub assembly, and also I'm going to show you some footages of the same car travelling at the same speed with a good wheel bearing and a bad wheel bearing, so you really know if it's actually bad. So I'm going to play these footages to you now, these clips, and also we're going to get down to the car right now. Right guys, this is what a vehicle sounds like with a bad wheel bearing. You can just hear a howling sort of noise and a rumbling sort of noise, and you can tell what side it's came from. So it sounds like it's came from the driver's side. So now guys, I'm going to give you a sound of the same vehicle travelling at the same speed with a good wheel bearing. Right guys, this is what it sounds like with a good wheel bearing. You can just tell how much quieter the sound is in the car. It's very quiet, and you don't hear that howling or the rumbling noise, or another word, humming noise. It's just a lot quieter. And now I'm going to give you another comparison so you can really listen with the bad wheel bearing. Right guys, this is a shot of the bad wheel bearing again. Now I'm going to give you a shot of the good wheel bearing. You just tell them how much quieter it is. Bad wheel bearing, good wheel bearing. Right guys, we're down to the car. And first step to doing your wheel hub assembly is to take the wheel off. So I'm going to pause and go and grab my jack. Right guys, I've got my jack out. I always use some axle stands under a car, because the last thing you want is this thing falling on you. That's the last thing you want. So we've got some axle stands to put either side. So that's what we're going to do first. But before we jack the car, we've got to break these wheel bolts loose. So I'm going to pause and go and get a 19mm socket with a breaker bar. So I'm going to pause. Right guys, it's now time to break these wheel bolts loose. Get it there. Break it loose. That was a very tight one. That was probably over tightened. I'm going to actually tilt that one down. There you go. So now I'm going to pause and jack this up. Right guys, I'm just getting this jack under there. We're now lining this up with a cross member. So you have to lie under there and look under there. So I'm going to pause and get down. So I'm going to pause here. Right guys, there's the cross member. And see, if you don't want to jack up on any of these plastics, you'll crack it. So start lifting. Let's check that's not aligned right. So just no. That's it. Now you've got it lined, we can now keep jacking this and stick this on axle stands once you lifted it. So I'm going to pause here and jack up. Just so you know, make sure the handbrake's on before doing this. Just remember, we've got to chock off the rear wheels to stop it from rolling. Just one precaution I nearly forgot is chock off the rear wheels in case your parking brake isn't that good. You don't want the car rolling into you. So I'm going to go and chock these off now. So I'm going to pause. Right guys, here's my wheel chock here. You just have to slide it under the rear. That's why I don't mind that. You use a block of wood. That'll prevent that from rolling. Normally, if you're jacking the rear up, I'd recommend you put it in first gear. Because if you're jack in the front up, you don't need to worry about it. We're now just going to jack the front up. So to pump the jack, is you turn it right the way around that way. You turn it this way to lower it. Let's just check it still. 9, so I'm just going to pause and check my wood's still aligned. I'm going to pause it. Just check my wood is still lined up, so we can safely jack. That's safe, we can jack up. Now we're going to get the axle stand under here to stop this falling, so I'm going to pause here. So now, you just pump it there. Because the sign of jack we use, it's really easy lifting cars up there. Requires hardly any muscle. Yeah, I'm going to pause until I finish jacking, so I'm going to pause it. That's how you do it, you just keep doing that, so I'm going to pause it. Right guys, you want to jack it out until the wheel's off the ground, and that's what we're at now. So now we're going to get the axle stand, and I'll show you the axle stand point, so I'm going to pause here. Right guys, use the subframe bolt as your jacking point. Yeah, my jack stands like that, so if your fronts don't work, just go to the rear. So I'm going to pause and use the rear, so I'm going to pause. Right guys, your fronts don't work, use the rears. So what you do is you get the little pin that they used to have here. Just grab the pin. These cars, if you look under these, and if you ever looked under, this is what I'm amazed about with this car. There's actually no rust under this. That's something that I'm actually quite impressed about. So now we're gonna do the other side. You have bolts at the front and rear of subframe. So we're gonna do the rear, other side. Then we can lower the car onto the stands. So I'm gonna pause here. Now guys, we've got it jacked. Now lower the jack onto the stands. It's on the stands. Now leave the jack touching. Here, we got it up on the stands. Now give it a good shake to make sure it's solid. That's nice and solid, the car. It should be solid like it was on the ground, and it is. So now we can start and take this wheel off, so I'm going to pull. Right guys, now it's time to undo all these wheel bolts. Sorry guys, just loosen these up. So now I'm going to pause and start getting this caliper off. So we need to take the disc off. First we're going to try to take the drive shaft bolt out. So that's what we're going to do first. So I'm going to pause here. Right guys, I've got this screwdriver to hold that in while we loosen this. Right, you want to get the strength to do that. You might want to stand. So you don't need to have anyone press the brakes. There you go. That's how you do it. You don't need anyone pressing the brake. You just slot a screwdriver in there. There you go. That's that broken loose now. Now you can release it now by hand. Don't loose, take it all the way out. There you go. That's that out. You want to push the shaft back a bit. There you go. That's that out, so I'm going to pause here. Right guys, don't loosen these slide pins here. Don't need to do anything with slide pin, we're just doing the whole brake caliper. Here we go. Sorry guys, I didn't mean to hit you. Was very loose on that. That's it, don't take it out yet. Now we've got the bottom one to do. There's one at the bottom as well. That's the feeling for it. There's also one at the bottom which I need to loosen. Right guys, now we're going to undo the bottom nut there. Now if that doesn't work, you just have to keep, you can step on your socket. I'm just going to push it back while I do that. There you go. Also loosening off the turn stop as well. I'm gonna hit the brake line, loosening it. Now when you loosened it all the way, it's still a pretty There we go, got it up there, the brake caliper. Hang it up on something like I made this tool up so I can hang it. So I'll let the caliper hang there. So now it's time. So right, push this side. This is your turn stop by the way guys, just throw that aside. Yeah, so now. Right guys, to undo this bolt is a 10mm socket. So we can get the brake disc off. So I've only recently replaced these will probably just fall off. Hold that while you do this because this will fall off. Now hold the disc in. Now take that off. A minute, just put that on the ground. That's fine. Now, this is the hub that we got to replace. So now, we've got to get on the back. There's 4 bolts on the rear. That's the final before we can actually break this thing off. So, I'm going to pause here and turn you around to the rear. Right guys, so loosen it. Use an 18mm spanner. This one was very tight, so what we're going to do to loosen up this one is spray it with WD-40. And spray the bottom one. Here you go, I've loosened these up, we're soaking them in penetrating oil. This one's real tight, I'm soaking it in penetrating oil. That's what you do. If you don't feel like it's loosening up, that's what you do to loosen up your bolts. So I'm going to pause here. Right guys, I've penetrated it for a little bit now. Right guys, we got it loose, but this is frozen on there, so to get this loose, if it's frozen on, what you do is you have to, right guys, to get this old bearing out, you just got to use the slide hammer. Here's how it's done. You just got to go back. There you go, and it's out. That's it. So there you go. It's all. I know it's not a common hand tool though, but these are pretty easy to pick up. I know not many people have these, but and they don't cost a lot of money. You could pick one up pretty cheaply. So I'll link this in the description. So I'm gonna pause here. Right guys, I've got the old hub out. I've used this puller to get it out because banging the thing with a hammer's not gonna work. So I know this is not a common hand tool, but they're pretty easy to pick up though. You probably get them from a store, just get them off eBay. Yeah, I only had to give it 2 bangs back and it came out. Luckily it came out. That saved me taking this whole knuckle off. So I'm gonna pause here. Right guys, here we have got the hub right here. Just unpack our new hub here. Here it is, the new one. Right guys, here we have the 2 hubs here. Let's check that they match for here. So just look at the old one. No, look at the old one here. Now just look at the backs. Make sure they're the same. Yeah, they're the same parts. So now it's time to fit this one to the car. So I'm gonna pause here. Also, what is included, this is the new drive shaft bolt, which for Americans call it the axle. So, and it's got 4 mounting nuts and bolts for the back. So, time to install it. I'm just going to throw it in this box for a sec. Then we're going to mount it to the car. So I'm going to pull. Right guys, now, here's the old one. So we just got to clean this surface. Yeah, I'm going to pause while I do the rest of this. Right guys, when you do this, make sure you get this surface as flat as you can, because you don't want the bearing at an angle. So do the best. So, and I've applied some grease because I don't have any like anti-seize. And I've greased the splines. Don't really have much anti-seize really matters in the UK. This way is how it goes on. That's it. There you go. Now, start threading these in and start tightening them. I'm going to pause it. Right now. Yeah guys, here we go. I'm going to pause and just find a socket to tighten that up. So I'm going to pause here. Righty tighten her. Right, for now we'll stick the caliper back on. I'm going to pause here. Right guys, now it's time to put the caliper back on. Right guys, just going to start threading the new drive shaft bolt in. Right guys, now we've got that there, we're just going to snug it in place. Got it tight enough, but now I'm just going to find the torque specs for this, so I'm going to pause here. Right guys, to torque this to 26 foot-pounds plus an additional 90 degrees. I'm set this to 30, which should add for the additional 90 degrees, so that's what I'm going to do. That's already torqued. You meant to do an additional 90. Well, I'll do it anyway. I'll show you how you do an additional 90. What you do, it's not quite a quarter of a turn, because a half a turn will be 180 degrees. So you want to just do a little quarter like that. You want to go there. Did it. I've done the additional 90. Great. That can happen sometimes. What you can try and do, here you go, you just lift it like that. Here you go. I think I've did it. Additional 90. Instead of, you're better off, I've actually slightly over tightened mine, but that's good enough. It's now time to get this wheel back on. This is an exact safety thing, this is, because that's your drive shaft, that is. So now guys, it's time to get the wheel back on, so I'm going to pause here. Right guys, I've just got it started to fed it on there. think I've got it now. Right guys, that's that done. That's that. Now guys, it's time to lower the vehicle down before we can torque these wheels, so I'm going to pause here. Right guys. Now you finish, we just jack up. And get the jacks. That's one out. And pull out the second. There we go. That's back on the ground. See, I'm going to pause here. I've got my torque wrench set to 103, but start with, you've got to do this in a crisscross pattern. Now when you do that one, do the nut opposite. That one was a very loose one. And that one, now we're going to do this one. Now do the nut opposite. Now we'll do the nuts again. Up that one. There you go. That's that torque to spec, so I'm going to pause here. Right guys, we're on the test drive. See how wheel bearing goes, guys. model is it?
It's right behind us. It's the new shape one.
V70.
I'm not sure what it is.
funny written on that motorbike in front. It just literally says blood on that motorbike. I've never seen that before.
He's carrying blood to a hospital or something.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
I've actually never seen it before.
Yeah. Yeah, hospital probably wants some blood and he's running it over to him.
Yeah. I haven't seen that written on a bike before. It's just weird. Have you ever seen it before?
I can't recall it on a bike. I think I have seen it before.
But not on a bike, though.
Yeah. I'm not sure, to be honest.
rather stationary if he goes any slower.
See you. That's a big old girl, isn't it? Next to that van. There's quite a few people at that fish and chip shop. What should we do?
Dunno. Right guys, that's the old test drive, guys. See, it's running all right. It's not making any noises, so we're gonna pause and end off this video. I'm gonna pause here, guys, and end off this video. Right, guys, we're gonna end off this video. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please give this video a thumbs up, and also consider subscribing so you don't miss any content like this. And have a nice day.